Howdy y'all, welcome back to Camp Catch. I appreciate you guys checking out episode 1 of the John Boat series. Today I'm starting episode 2 and we're going to be doing the interior along with some of the rigging, engine installation, and the truck bed liner on the rails. Basically we're going to get it all ready to go for the sea trial, and the sea trial will be in episode 3, which will be the final episode. And come check it out. This is going to be a little bit more intensive than the first one, but I'll try and keep it short and sweet. Here we are, Labor Day weekend has just started. It's Friday afternoon and I'm getting back to work on the John boat. Back to work on it. I got it flipped over because I didn't want to wait another day for the gator base to dry before I got to work on the inside. So we're gonna do a little bit of work on the interior, and then tomorrow I can flip it back over on the trailer and wrap up the gator glide coating. All right, let's get to work. First things first, gonna mount the transom plate. I've got a piece of cardboard, laid it down. I've got it cut to length on either side and cut to width already. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting a mark center on these ribs, and I'll show you why here in a second. I am going to trace this out where the edges on either side are not the actual edge of the plywood, and then I'm going to take an auger bit, like a 1-inch auger bit, and punch holes on the edges before I cut the wood out, so that there are perfect 1-inch half circles to go around these ribs. And I don't know they're 1 inch yet, but however tall they are, I'm going to cut out the perfect half circles, and then I'm going to cut out the wood all the way around the perimeter, and so it'll lay in there and be all perfectly uniform and look good. Alright, there we go. Notches are all cut. They look pretty uniform. That little drill didn't want to do it, but that's okay. We made it work. And I'm not going to use the jigsaw for this because it's too long a line for me to keep it straight, so I'm just going to put a skill saw on it, rip down the straight lines, and then we'll just have to notch these little edges here a little bit, and we'll be able to test fit it. I am going to have to coat it, and what I'm going to coat it in is Total Boat epoxy resin. Had a bunch of that left over from an old boat project I did, a fiberglass boat project, and that'll be perfect for sealing up this wood. Alright, that's better. No more wood chips in the eyes. There's our floor. Now, like I said, we gotta notch these to make it straight. Shouldn't be too difficult to get that. Nice and uniform. So I know you've all heard the saying, measure twice, cut once. Well, how about this? Measure twice, still cut twice. All right, let's see how it does. Now the deck's cut out, we're gonna lay some bed liner. I'm gonna bed line the cap and the rail, but the bed liner that I'm using is a 2-part epoxy, really, really thick, and I'm gonna line these ribs. And my purpose of doing that is just as an extra layer of seal for the rivets. I checked and none of the rivets were leaking, so I don't have to do it, but you know, I don't want to get back into this thing anytime soon. I'm putting whole lot of power on the back of it, and I don't want any leaking from rattling rivets or anything like that. So we got it all taped off all around the inside, and same around the outside, all taped off. I'm employing my wife Mary again, and we're about to break into this Rust-Oleum truck bed coating and see if it works all right for us. All right, so I forgot to hit the record button, but we're coming in with the truck bed coating now, and covering these little support beams and all the rivets in a nice thick coat by brush. And I started to do the front rails before I realized that it's impossible to bend over the side of the boat and do these support beams while those rails are wet. So I stopped just about a quarter of the way through and switched over to doing these rails. Mary had to run in and take care of the baby. So just kind of wrap these up and then we'll jump on those outside rails, but it's looking really good. The inside's not looking as good, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be covered in subfloor, and really this is just for like sealing and protection. But those outside rails where I'm rolling it on, those look fantastic. The Rust-Oleum truck bed coating professional kit. I'm done with it. I've had way too much of it. I mean, look, it's like a gallon left. The outside rail is complete. It looks amazing. It's very heavily textured, but I have noticed that as it dries, the texture kind of lays down a little bit. There it is. What I really was doing the truck bed coating for was these rails on the outside, because regular paint will just get rubbed right off. I'm pretty hard on equipment, and I know for a fact that regular paint wouldn't hold up. I'm going crazy watching these Cletus McFarland videos, those guys ripping up and down the rivers. And yeah, I've got my little fishing skiff and I've got my offshore boat. I don't have nothing that's really like fast and fun. And even though this thing's not going to be fast like a race boat fast, it'll feel race boat fast. I actually got up in there with the seat on it, and from the outside it looks kind of sizable. But when you're sitting up in that thing, it feels like a surfboard. So I'm sure with this 35 horse on it over here, she's going to fly. All right, y'all, we're getting back to it on the John boat project. We're working inside now. It's a little rainy outside, but we are putting the it's like a sea deck. It's EVA. It's not sea deck, but it's EVA foam material, and we're laying it down on the wood deck that we're going to put in the center of the John boat between the two benches. And of course, in typical fashion, I started the project first, and then I picked up the camera and decided to record it. So here's what we got. We got the outline traced out. This half here is glued down already. And what we're doing is we're lifting this side up like that, and my wife Mary's peeling the backing off as I go down, laying it down smooth like that. So far, it's working good. Alright, we got the HydroTurf down on the deck. Got it all cut out, looks good. There was a little sliver of plywood left showing, and that's okay because when I was test fitting that deck, I scraped up the benches on both sides because it just barely fit. Like, it was a friction fit to get it between the benches. I didn't really want it like that because I want to be able to take it out without messing up the paint and everything. So after the HydroTurf was laid on, I came back with the circular saw and just ripped off that little tiny, it's probably a sliver about that big. Actually, that was the sliver that was sticking out. So hard to see, but it's about 1/4 of an inch. And now we're going to test fit this deck with the HydroTurf on it for the first time, see how it looks. Looks amazing in there. You can see, I think, that there's a little bit of give right here, but that's okay because I'm going to line these ribs in a little tiny sliver of foam. I was planning on doing that anyways, just to keep things quiet. But yeah, that looks good. So next thing we're going to do is the benches, and I'm gonna leave the front for later. I'm gonna do a whole nother coat on the whole inside, but I'm gonna finish up and paint this unpainted section here. We're gonna pull the taping off of it, but I just wanted to show you guys where we're at. It's been an awesome project. Probably about 3 weeks in. Well, pretty much exactly 3 weeks in, because I started it. I really got started on it when my son was born. I was home all day. When he would take a nap, I'd work on it. And he's 3 weeks old, so. Home from work to a big surprise I didn't expect yet. Got me a package I've been waiting on. Didn't think that it would be here this soon, but let's break into this thing. Watch it not be what I'm expecting, and then I do all this nonsense from it. Nah, it's gotta be. Ooh-wee. It's heavy. There she is. So I got good feedback online for these guys on the fly jack plates. It kind of fits the exact need for me because I did want to be able to adjust the jack plate while I'm using it, not necessarily have the need to be going up and down constantly, but I didn't want to have to bring tools with me to adjust it, and at the same time I didn't want the weight of a hydraulic pump, and there's not much electronics in the boat at all. It's a little tiller John boat, so I didn't want to have to plumb a bunch of electronics and do all that, so this kind of just fit right where I needed it. I wanted a little bit of setback. I'm going to get that with this as well. Time to go at it. All right, we got the jack plates on last night. And I got my buddy Derek here again. He's gonna help me lift the 35 force on there. John boat's done. I had to cut out a couple clips, putting in the EVA foam because it was too dark in the garage, along with the fuel tank install. Other than that, yeah, it's done. Got the John Yacht ruler installed, Millennium Marine seat. And everything came out just like I wanted. So I have already sea trialed the boat at this point, and I'm extremely excited about it. It runs extremely quick, ran great, no problems. and extremely shallow, which is important for me. You can see that outboard runs real high to the bottom of the boat. The center line of the prop is essentially at the bottom of the boat. So just a couple inches of water and she'll run through it. I appreciate you guys checking out the videos. Make sure you like and subscribe as to not miss the final episode, which will be the sea trial and just some shenanigans with the boat. And I'll be releasing that next Wednesday. See ya.